Welcome back to the next episode of the Formula 1 23 driver career. We're in season 2, of course, continuing on from a strong result in the last one. I say a strong result, it was a bloomin' podium. A P2 in Imola, Monaco to come today, and hoping to build on that. We've had some good results this season, we've had some bad results this season, and we are hoping for more good than bad for the remainder of the year. Third in the constructors, 6th in the drivers, but only 9 points off third in the drivers as well. It is my weakest circuit, as you're more than aware by now over the years of the Formula 1 content, but thankfully it's fully dry. So fingers crossed we should be good with tyre temps, fingers crossed we should be good with pace, and hopefully we can get a decent result here. Resource points still need to be added in their masses from practice, but we've got all of the older parts in, just double checking before we get going. Of course, we had a gearbox failure in Miami, hoping for no failures this time around. Whilst you guys drop the video a like, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more, and hopefully we can do exactly what we need to do on track to get loads of resource points, a good qualifying position, and a great race finish. 2 quick practice, back from quick practice. We've already achieved everything. We actually managed 4 of 5 on all of the objectives, actually. So I'm very pleased with practice in Monaco. We cannot seem to get enough XP, however, to get ourselves up to level 14, unfortunately. We've been right on the cusp for as long as I can remember. We will get there eventually. Maybe qualifying in Monaco will help us get that result. Rivalry-wise to Charles Leclerc, we're currently leading, but only by just, and this is the final race remaining in that rivalry. We have good aero, we have a good chassis, not such a great powertrain, but durability is our weak point. I'm going to put fresher parts in for the race, and hopefully no failures for us here. We can get a full Monaco Grand Prix in, and who knows, fingers crossed, a very good result. In fact, I'd be tempted to leave the gearbox as it is. I might be running the risk of a... Yeah, it's not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk. Across the line in a 109.8. That is about a second faster than anybody else went in that session, I think. When we went out, it was a 110.8 for P1. So 110.5 is the next fastest out at the end of the session. Someone did mention in chat, Adstar, my mod, did mention in chat that the AI in Season 2 at Monaco are a bit shit. And maybe that's showing itself here. Not sure at this particular moment in time, but it potentially is. We might up the... Oh, Sector 2, not Season 2. They're a bit rubbish in Sector 2. Well, at the moment, they're a bit rubbish around the whole lap. But we'll see what we can do in Q2. Race pace will be different, of course, to quali pace, but we may consider upping the difficulty depending on what happens in the rest of qualifying. It was a 110 something, I think. 110.2 or 3. Enough for P1 in Q2 as well. Wasn't as strong a lap as my Q1 lap, though. So I don't know whether the late 109 is my outright pace here or what. Checo out. Max out. Both Mercedes are through. Both Ferrari and Alpine, McLaren and Aston Martin. So that's your final 10. Now, in what order will that final 10 start the race? Q3 will tell us. Right, at least a decent start onto the lap. Now then, one flying Monaco lap for potential pole in the Principality. We're on 105 difficulty. If we get pole, we will up it to 108 for the race. Oof, that was close. We are purple in Sector 1, only just up on Carlos Sainz though, by less than a tenth through the first sector. So that says to me that we're not necessarily on for pole at the moment. Sainz puts in a 110.4. Lando Norris a 110.2. We will cross the line with a 109.8. So we replicate our Q1 time.
Excellent lap. We're all
in Q3, and that is pole. So we will up the difficulty from 105 to 108 for the Grand Prix. How much was the margin? Considerable enough to certainly justify the upping of the difficulty. It will only be track specific, because at Monaco, the AI evidently aren't that strong. Normally, well, at least my experience in Season 1 is that they have... But is 13 the highest driver level acclaim I can get to, for some reason, in driver career? I'm not sure. I don't think it is. Shouldn't be. At least I'm not aware of it. You can get much higher in my team, but 13 appears to be as far as I can get. We will up the difficulty before we head to the race. 105 to 108. Let's see what happens from here. We start on pole then. Just under 4/10 faster than Lando Norris at 105 difficulty. Having upped it to 108 and knowing that we're going to be starting on the hard compound tyre, I think we're probably going to struggle to keep hold of our advantage through the pit stop phase. We're going to get undercut quite considerably. And then we will, I imagine, have quite a bit of overtaking left to do. Once we pit off those hard tyres, I'm going to try and one stop hard to medium. That's the anticipation here. And that's what it reckons I should do. It's actually reckoning that I pit quite early off those hards to go to the mediums, and it's probably the best way to go about it in terms of track position. In terms of what's fastest to the flag in outright pace, 40 and 38 is supposedly the go-to. So we know we can one-stop. We anticipate, should I say, being able to one-stop. It actually reckons that a two-stop is quicker, quite considerably, but track position is king around here. So we will go 40 laps on the hards, 38 laps on the mediums, hope not to have to pit an extra time. We have got the tyres available if we need to do that, so that's fine. If there's a safety car, we've got the tyres available to do what we need to there as well. 78 laps, currently got 3 laps worth of extra fuel. I'm happy enough with that. Starting on the hard, what's everyone else doing? Starting on the hard in the front half and softs behind. They're going to look to undercut quite considerably in the back half of the field. And in the front half of the field, we're going long. Tyres are warmed up. From pole in the Principality to where?
Okay, incredible parking there. Nice one.
It's not necessarily a great track for me, as you know. It's arguably my weakest. Maybe this or Jeddah would be up there as one of my weakest circuits on the entire calendar. But we've upped the difficulty to 108 from 105, specifically just for this track because of the apparent lack of pace from the AI as well as myself. And we shall see how good they are and how good or bad I will be. Lando Norris right up my chuff at the beginning. But we're able to hold on to P1 for now. Now, tyre temperatures will be the main port of call for our attention in the opening few laps. That is, of course, provided that Lando Norris doesn't shove it up my inside around the casino square. I will try and concentrate on my driving and my tyre temps, and hopefully we can turn a pole position into our first race victory for Aston Martin. Hey, steady. Steady. Cheers, Lando. Just drive straight into the back of me if you like, pal. Appreciate that. Trying to leave him space here. He literally just went straight into the back of me there through the Raskas. Clunked into the back. Seems to have been okay. I didn't see any visual damage on his car there, but... And he seemed to get through turn 1 okay. That was a big contact, though. Very big contact. I do know that I brake earlier than the AI through Raskas, so I have to be prepared for the occasional bit of contact there, but I didn't expect him to just push me quite so hard. The minute the gaps are relatively respectable. Not really, oh god, racing away from anyone at this stage. Getting away with a little bit of a love tap of the wall there. The two McLarens very much firmly with me at this stage. Tyre temps are warm, to say the least, but so far not an issue. That is just a so far. Doesn't mean to say that it won't become an issue. A few laps in. Wow, basically 108 all round already.
That was the fastest lap of the race so far.
That's on a hard tyre as well. Yikes. Lando's keeping me honest at the minute. Both McLarens sticking with. I think once the others stop squabbling with one another and settle down into a rhythm, we will probably be as we are until the first round of pit stops. It's then that we'll find out what's going to happen with the order through that first round of pit stops. We're faster around the hairpin or through that part of the track, but they do close up in sectors 1 and 3, that's for sure. They're just really not that strong at that middle part of the track, which is basically on point with what my live chat was saying in the moment during qualifying. Just got to keep it out the wall and on the track, and we should be good for a half decent result here. I am very nervous about getting undercut. I do think I'm going to get undercut quite considerably, but hopefully we can battle against that, have much fresher tyres at the end of the race. We're going about 1% a lap right now with these hard tyres, or just over in fact, because we're starting lap 4 and they're at 4% as we start it. So the one stop should work, hard to medium, and fingers crossed if we do lose any places, we can at least have a fairer crack at getting them back again. Purple sector 2 after not improving in sector 1. As the fuel burns off, we will get lighter and faster, but as the tyres get hotter, we'll get slower. So DRS is active now, obviously, and I am hot on the front. 112 degrees on my front left is very hot indeed. 113 front left is now starting to get to the overheating territory. But there's not really anything I can do. My tyre pressures are minimum. My front wing downforce is maximum. And the way to reduce tyre temps on the front is to up your front wing. But I can't up it any further than it currently is. So it'll be an intriguing one, because the hotter they get, the faster they'll wear as well, and we might be under risk of needing an extra pit stop, which would probably kill our entire race, to be honest. But a 108 so far. We're leading, but we're certainly holding up the McLarens. Of that, there's no doubt. At least Lando Norris. I'm sure Oscar Piastri as well, which is why the undercut is so much of a concern for me. No one's boxed yet, though, for any damage. And the fact that there doesn't appear to be anybody running slow and have a massive train behind them shows to me that no one's even got any damage so far. Everyone is having a fantastic race to this point so far, and 6 and a bit laps in, even I haven't had to flash back yet. Look at me go. 6 laps at Monaco without any barrier touches, apart from the one that I got on like lap 1 that I got away with. Didn't get the car stopped there. All turns there. No traction. 3 seconds, 3.1 to Lewis as we cross the line there. I want to keep an eye on that. Bit of a gap opening up between the Mercedes and the Alpine. Leclerc currently stuck behind, presumably Pierre Gasly. He tends to be slightly faster than Esteban Ocon in career mode. Although I'm not sure where each individual Alpine qualified. There are some gaps opening up throughout the field now, so at least we're not going slow. At least we're not going so slowly that we're holding everybody up. Which says to me the difficulty is better than 105, but probably better than 110 as well. Better than 105 because I've still got people behind me challenging, but better than 110 because I'm not holding the entire field up. There are gaps opening up throughout, so 108 looks like it may well be, we hope anyway, the sweet spot for this track. Little love tap of the barrier there, but no damage as far as I'm aware. I'll check my MFD as we come onto the straight. Nope, no damage, we got away with it. Still very hot front left, and that front right is getting up there as well. 111 on the front right, 113 on the front left. The fronts are on the bubble at the moment, and the rears aren't far behind. Yeah, gap's opened up quite a bit to Lewis there by about 3 or 4 tenths almost. Don't know whether a mistake was made by Sainz that slowed them both up or what, but just under a second back to Lando, just under a second further back from him to Piastri, and then just over a second to Carlos Sainz. So if they've lost DRS, that could certainly play a factor in these early stages in helping build that gap, and the front three pull away. Maybe. I certainly can't shake the McLarens at the moment. Another love tap from Lando. Thank you, mate. Again, he gets away with no damage. Very, very lucky at the minute, Lando Norris. It's twice he's hit me on the way into Rasgas. Twice he's gotten away with it. Where my teammate is right now. Well, it's in the top 10, I think, but only just. Now is where my hot tyres and slightly higher tyre wear is starting to come and bite me back now. Oh, that front left is so hot. No grip on that at times. 17%, well, about 16% all round, and the front left is just a little bit further worn. But now that higher tyre wear and lack of grip is starting to affect my ability to pull away. Well, not pull away, but at least maintain the gap. I am probably going to have to react to their pit stops, to be honest. I'm expecting them to stop about lap 21-ish. We're hoping to stop on lap 40, but I don't think that's really going to be an option at the minute. Because if I wait that long, they'll pit and then be right back up behind me before I pit. If we leave it too long, meaning that then when I pit, I'll be a full pit stop behind them, rather than if I pit when they pit, still right with them. It's just a case of whether we can keep our tyres alive and then them behind us throughout the course of a second stint. If I stop too early, I'm not going to be able to keep them alive or them behind me through the second stint. And I'm torn as to what to do at the moment. There isn't really a right option, to be honest. Here you go. Someone pulling the trigger. Lance in, as is Lewis Hamilton at the end of lap 21. They were on hard tyres, so they're making their one stop now on lap 21 and going to try and take those medium tyres a full 57 laps. Which is a long way, even for a hard set, let alone a medium set. I might just have to react to the pit stops of those behind. Although if they come out in traffic, that is going to be beneficial to me. They might be pitting earlier and getting an undercut on me, but if they get stuck in traffic and can't utilise that pace on the fresher tyre, then I should be able to still extend a little bit. George Russell now in the pits in the Mercedes, so both Mercs now in. And Williams is pit as well, as you can see, is all the way at the back. That's a long way back. No front wing changes though. It's just Zhou Guanyu that stopped from softs to medium, so expecting that to happen with a number of those that started at the back. But hopefully those that have pit this soon, that were in this front pack, will get stuck in traffic. Love tap number 3 from Lando Norris. I think I got away with that somehow. Lando's having a look around the outside. Well, we both ended up in the wall there. Lando again getting away somehow without damage there, I think. I just understeered wide. I wasn't trying to squeeze him. I just quite simply, with my hot front left, couldn't turn the car right. My teammate now puts in the fastest lap of the race so far. He's got some free air, but the two Mercedes are now stuck behind a Haas. So the overcut strategy at the moment is working in our favour. Sainz in the pits, but neither McLaren boxed. McLarens are also going for a slightly longer first stint. I think they might be in before lap 30 though. But they might be switched on tactically, because look where everyone is at the minute. Everyone that's boxed is stuck behind that Haas. They cannot get past. So soon I'll box when that Haas boxes. As long as I can be faster than that Haas. I'll come out 16th when I pit at the minute, it says. So in the moment, I am not going to be able to come out in front of that Haas. I do genuinely think I might be able to do that. Lando's in the box now. Okay, we'll see where Lando comes out then. That will help us decide what happens with our pit stop. Lando's gone to mediums. Is he going to come out in front of the Haas? That's the question. He should do, I think. And he hasn't. The Haas is in. Lando has lost time and places. A lot of places. He's come out at the back of that train, not in front of it. I don't know what I do now. If I box, then I'll come out just with that train where Lando is. We could check and see if Lando had a wing change. Actually, that is a good point. And the answer is no. Lando did not have a wing change. No damage for Lando Norris. It's an AlphaTauri that is now going to hopefully slow up the advance of the Mercedes as Lewis sets the fastest lap of the race, trying to close in on that AlphaTauri. And Oscar Piastri's come out behind his teammate. At the minute, Ricciardo in the Alfa Romeo on his hards is closing the gap to me as my tyres get more and more worn. We're losing more and more relative pace. But I know if I pit, I'll come out where the McLarens are, and probably behind them too. Safety car. Oh, that's phenomenal. That's a free pit stop. I'm going to be in this lap for mediums. I don't know why the safety car is out. And the team have recognised it as well. We're boxing now to mediums. That might win us this Grand Prix. Why there's a safety car? I've absolutely no idea. Someone somewhere must have picked up damage. But we are in. That is probably the luckiest safety car we are ever likely to get in this series. Unsurprisingly, Checo's in as well. Here come the Mercedes. Are we going to be able to get out in front of them? The answer is going to be no, I think.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
We come out third. We come out third. We could quite easily have come out behind both McLaren. We would have, certainly, have come out behind both McLarens if we'd stayed to the original strategy and there was no safety car. We would be, right now, P11, where Oscar Piastri is. Max Verstappen is currently last, having not stopped yet, so Max must have been the cause of the safety car. Going very slowly right now. I wonder if he's not got a wing at all. Let's have a look. Max Verstappen is damaged front wing, but he seems to be driving okay though. Damaged front wing, but Max is running dead last right now, so he must have been the cause of the safety car. I think. There's no way he didn't pit and didn't gain time. So he's in now, and he's going to be a long way down, but we're about to catch the safety car, so we've got to wait for Verstappen to catch up. So we won't be racing until at least lap 30. So we can try and eke these tyres out now as long as possible. Save the wear, and hopefully we'll be able to come home in P3. I believe everybody has now done their only pit stops. Yeah, no more pit stops for anyone, I don't think. Not for strategy, anyway. Only pit stops now will be for damage. So we're looking probably at a P3 here, because I think the Mercedes will pull away from me when we get racing again. Find out in due course as we come around this corner. Are we in this lap, or are we doing one more? One more would be lovely. Too busy looking at the top to see the graphic change. And everybody slammed their anchors on in front of me. We will be in this lap. I was looking up top to see what happened. There you go, safety car in, and then they brake. Here we go. Back to racing for lap 30. So these medium tyres are going to have to do me 49 laps without exploding. I don't know if I can do that. We're off. We're underway. Game on again. Green flag racing.
Catching the car ahead, but remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
Now we find out just how much we were holding up those cars in front of us earlier. How much of a jump 108 from 105 truly is. 105 we would have, well, we got pole by a few tenths and would have just disappeared. At 108, what's going to happen? These guys are on more worn tyres. Well, Lance Stroll pit very early, didn't he? When did Lance Stroll pit? So to be fair, we've got quite a tyre advantage on Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll pit 21, 21, 21. Everyone that is of note to us at this stage of the Grand Prix pit on 21. As we pit like 28, 27 or 28. But look, the Mercedes are off. I'm going to concentrate and try and stick with them if I can, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. We were within DRS range of George Russell that lap. Still not close enough to make a move or think about making a move, but it is at least going to help us keep pace with the Mercedes in front, hopefully, and extend the gap behind. At this stage, it looks like a P3 is almost guaranteed, depending on what happens with our tyre wear later in the race. Obviously, if there's another safety car at some point, that will change things. At the moment, we're going to stick with these Mercedes and just gap those behind. They're just faster than me out of there. I can't quite get my line right, so they're able to get the power down before I am. Meaning that I'm always going to lose time into out of the swimming pool into Raskas, meaning that I'm never going to be close enough to make a move with the DRS that I'll have, unless George makes a mistake. But if Max Verstappen can make a mistake and force a safety car or cause a safety car, then anyone can. Tyre wear and temperature is now becoming more of an issue. He's starting to pull away in front, and Stroll is starting to close me back down behind. Now he's shaken off the attentions of Pierre Gasly from behind him. Now is where my 8% higher tyre wear from the race strategy practice program is starting to show itself. We weren't quite able to get a visual depiction of it when we were in front, because we were still dictating the pace. But now the others are dictating pace. We will get an idea of just how much time I am losing with higher wearing tyres. The Mercedes are gone, and I will not catch them up without a safety car. There's us as the front three. There's then Stroll, Gasly and Leclerc. Then I think there's a bit of a gap to Ocon and Sainz, and then a significant gap back to Lando, Checo and Piastri. And barring a safety car now, we are probably in a bit of a time trial session between now and the end, praying that we don't get a failure or a puncture. But those in front will pull away. The only likelihood is that those behind close in on me as my tyre wear gets more in line with theirs. In fact, it may already be more in line with theirs and potentially just gets worse than theirs. Front two are gone though now. Any chance or hope we had of winning this race, excuse me, has disappeared now without the help of another safety car. Esteban Ocon is out. Esteban Ocon has made a mistake and hit the wall, and we might get that next safety car. Oh no, he's not hit the wall. His engine's blown. The Ferrari's just squeaking past him. Esteban Ocon is going to retire here. That won't be, I don't think, any sort of safety car. Slightly annoying, because I would love to have put on another set of medium tyres. But we will not get the opportunity. But at least we'll have the chance to finish the race, unlike Esteban, so we can still be thankful that we're P3 and comfortable right now. It would absolutely have been a virtual safety car at the very least. Yeah, you're right. With him, but to be fair, if it were real life, he'd have parked it all the way down the end of the escape road, not just off the track. So it probably wouldn't have been a safety car or virtual. Gaps are stable for now because we're slightly under the 25% drop off, whereas Stroll and the Mercedes are over that 25% drop off now, which is why we're still pulling away from Lance and actually clawing back George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. But as soon as I hit that 25% mark, that return of some pace will disappear again, and we'll be back to losing time to the Mercedes and just trying to hold the gap to Stroll steady. 32 laps to go. 32 laps to go. Checo's now managed to get past Lando, if you'll notice on the minimap. That blue dot is now ahead of the two orange ones. So Lando's still holding his teammate up with whatever damage Lando has. We didn't see any when we looked at him. I don't think he got, even though he definitely touched me a few times, I don't know as he got that damage from behind, from hitting me. Because even when he touched my back a few times coming through the braking zone of Raskas, but even when we had that moment at turn 1, his pace was still fine. He wasn't losing time. So I wonder whether Lando picked up damage somewhere else. And the Red Bull is now significantly pulling away from him.
7.5 seconds.
And I have now hit that 25% drop off myself, which is why the gaps around me starting to grow in front and shrink behind again. You can see just how hot my tyres are getting here, which is why we have as little grip as we do. The rears are okay. They're hot, but they're okay. But the fronts are knackered. And that's because of ABS and not really anything else. I've only got used softs to go to. That's annoying. They'd only be slightly used. They'd have only done one run. I was just thinking, if there's a safety car, I wonder what compound I'd go onto at this stage as we get nearer the end. But I think with those tyres being used, yeah, that's good, considering we've still got 20 laps worth of race to go. 40% on the front left now. Yeah, as we're reaching 50% now, they're well and truly leaving me for dead now. This is where definitely the extra tyre wear that we have of about 8 or 9% compared to the other drivers is working against us. Thankfully, we've got a decent enough gap behind that over the next 10.5 laps, we should be fine to at least maintain a decent gap to Stroll and Gasly. Gasly is now right with my teammate, and the two Ferrari right behind him as well, so there is going to be a bit of a battle for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, and Sergio Perez is closing in to make that a 5-car fight for 4th place. But as ever at Monaco, track position is more important. At the minute, Lewis Hamilton has track position on George. George has track position and a gap to me. To be fair, the gap between Lewis and George is about 1.5 now as well. And, well, quite frankly, we're not worried about Stroll behind us at all, but he is definitely going to be worried about Pierre Gasly and both Ferrari and now Red Bull probably before the end of the race as well. Not sure where Max is in the Grand Prix. I think he's currently running 18th and second last. There's only a second between George and Lewis now. Less than a second between George and Lewis now. Is George Russell making a play for the lead of this Grand Prix?
Gap to your teammate behind is 10.4 seconds.
I think George has an issue. George has an issue. George has a problem. Look at that gap. Oh no, never mind. They're just lapping someone. Oh, mate. I thought for a brief moment they got a puncture. My little heart thought that one of them had an issue there. But they were just lapping the Williams. Sag. I got all excited. The heart was fluttering. I was thinking, oh God, might we maybe stand a chance of a P2 or maybe even a win? No. 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 So as we come around to start the final lap here at Monaco, we have tyre wear in the early to mid 60s. Very close to puncture territory. If we'd have stopped any earlier than when we did under the safety car, like if we'd have stopped on 21 with the others, with the McLarens, sorry, with the Mercedes, yeah, McLarens or the Mercedes? With the Mercedes that stopped when they did on lap 21, and my teammate, who's currently behind me in P4, I think I might have gotten a puncture at the end of this Grand Prix. But thankfully, we're just going to make it to the end with no such thing happening. One safety car from Max having a something. I don't know what something he had, presumably a spin or of some description. Max Verstappen calls the safety car. We stopped. We put on the mediums. We tried to stay with a Mercedes, and for a while we did very well, but ultimately the tyre wear was just too high. Maintained the gap behind very well, and actually what has turned out to be a nightmare weekend for Red Bull, with Max finishing P18 and Checo P8. It's an excellent weekend for Lewis Hamilton, who's going to win the Grand Prix and get the fastest lap and all 26 points for himself. George Russell comes home P2, and for Aston Martin, a P3 and 4 in Monaco is very, very good indeed. We've got to be thrilled with that. Back-to-back podiums for us for the first time in, as far as I can remember, ever. Did we do back-to-back podiums last year with Alfa Romeo? I'd have to double check. I certainly don't recall doing back-to-back podiums, but we may well have done towards the end of the season. It's shaky bottle time here. Very, very pleased indeed to be in the points and get a good haul of them as well. And on the podium for a second race in a row in Monaco at 1:08, might we add. Very happy. Very, very happy actually with that. Lando and Oscar a long way back. Lando definitely picked up damage with one of our incidents. But yeah! Level 14 exists! Level 14 exists. Unbelievable, Jeff. We will head into the Canadian Grand Prix weekend, but will we? Oh no, sorry, the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. We're going to get any upgrades? We're going to get the opportunity to have anything come on the car? I don't think so. We've got DRS currently being worked on. Front downforce could be important. Brakes we're staying away from. Weight reduction I'd love to do, but I can't afford at the minute. Got engine upgrades that are working. Fuel efficiency we're not worried about. I'm going to go for front downforce, I think. That's going to be... no, department capacity reach, because we've got two things currently in the works. Okay, well I can't afford... I could do ERS, that could be important. I think I want the downforce. I couldn't afford the weight reduction. Oh, sorry, weight redistribution. Can I afford the weight reduction? I can't even look at the weight reduction. Well, the car will stay as it is then for now as we head towards the Spanish Grand Prix weekend, which, fingers crossed, will be dry. But in terms of the standings, that shoots us up from where we were to where we thought we could get with a strong result. Above everybody other than Lando, George and Lewis, and up to P4. Lewis Hamilton now with a sizable enough lead at this stage of the season at the top of the standings. We are closing in on McLaren and definitely pulling away from everybody else behind in P3 in the Constructors. A really strong weekend for us. Back-to-back podiums for us. Lewis has won 4 of the 6 Grand Prix so far. And did I do back-to-back podiums last year? No, we didn't. We had a win in Qatar, a P2 in Mexico, 2 races apart, and they were our only 2 podiums. So a podium twice, but no back-to-backs. So for the first time in our career, back-to-back podiums. Very pleased with that. Lance Stroll shoots up the standings as well, so good news for him. I must remember as well too. Can I do it from the settings here now? I can indeed. Let's drop that back down to 105, shall we? The AI are strong at Spain, and I'll probably significantly struggle at this next Grand Prix weekend at Catalunya in Barcelona. But if weather's kind to us, we might stand a good chance. Weather is kind to us. It's dry throughout. So no worries about tyre wear or tyre temps. Thanks to wet weather, we should be good for the Spanish Grand Prix. So do join me for it. Drop the video a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss out on any more. We should be live streaming that Spanish Grand Prix on Friday evening. So do join me if you are free. It would be great to see you. If not, then hopefully I'll see you at some point over the next next few days over the weekend as we head into a new week as well. Thank you very much for watching. Monaco actually went very well, can you believe it? Drop the video a like, subscribe so you don't miss out on more. Come and join me on stream, and I'll see you next time.